Real Talk disclaimer. The information provided by the host on this platform is for education and awareness purposes only. All information provided on this platform is provided in good faith. We make no representation or warranty of any kind, express or implied, regarding the accuracy, validity, and reliability of information shared by the host or show guests. The views and opinions of guests on the show do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the host of Real Talk. Under no circumstances do the host, show guests, sponsors, or affiliates assume responsibility for the actions of any viewer.
Our greatest glory is rising when we fall. So don't be discouraged, don't you be appalled. It's okay if you fall and maybe even lose your spark. Just make sure in the end you rise from the dark. It's time to rise up, time to work, and time to chase your dreams. The Lord has the final say, so your soul is redeemed. This message is to help you with your self-esteem, as faith will take you places that we have never seen.
Well, hello. We are here. That's right. We are here on Real Talk. That's right. We are here on Real Talk. You have the beautiful Bishop T with yours truly, Pastor Z, and we've been gone. We've been tied up, but we are back, and we have a lot of information, a lot of news, a lot of things have taken place since we have been away. But we've been taking care of business. Going to do our roll call in just a few minutes. But before we do our roll call, let us tell you how you can actually join us here on Real Talk. Join us here on Real Talk, of course, on our Facebook Live page. That's right. Facebook Live page on ZT.Real Talk, or you can just put in Real Talk with Pastor Z and Bishop T. Or you can join us on Bishop T page or Z Andre Huff page. You also can join us on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel. Do us a huge favor, like and subscribe. How about that? Like and subscribe. We just want to make sure we're doing serving our community well. How about that? And then this is an old Twitter, but we do have Twitter still. The bird is no longer on your icon. Mr. Musk decided to change it to a X. But we do have a Twitter page, Real Talk with Z and T at Real Talk with Z_T. We say welcome to all of you. What we want you to do right now is share. Everyone, all 16 that I can see on at this moment, I do want you to share as others are joining us on today. We want to do roll call for those who are saying hello to us. Bishop, we have Miss Katrina Davis saying hello and God bless.
Hello, Miss Davis.
And then we have Miss Pamela Renee Smith. Say hi, Pastor Z and Bishop T.
Hello, Miss
I want to
Smith.
say hello to all of you that are joining us. Do us a favor, like and share. Like and share. Hello, Bishop. You've been a busy woman doing your civil duty. So proud of you, super proud of what you're doing in the position that you have been voted into, but also assigned to. So how have you been these past 2, 3, 4 weeks?
Well, things are well. Things are well. Thank you. Thank you for you being proud. For you,
Hello, Miss Kimball. I want to say hello to
Kimber.
you.
Hello,
Yes.
hello,
Pastor
Miss
Horton, how
Kimber.
you doing? My
Brother
friend in
Hart,
St. Louis,
how is
in the
St.
big city
Louis?
of St. Louis.
How is St. Louis?
Pastor
Brother
John
Hart.
and Miss Sharice is there chilling in St. Louis.
Okay, okay.
Dana
Yeah.
J, what's happening? Go ahead. I'm
Uh,
sorry.
uh, uh, Deacon, Deacon Huff. I'm not. I will talk about that later. I was gonna say something. We'll talk about
I
that.
already know what you finna pick
We'll
at him
talk
with.
about it later. We'll talk about it later. We ain't gotta talk about
Let,
it now.
let him
We can
alone.
talk about it
Let,
later.
let him alone.
We can talk about it later. Things are where I am enjoying what I'm doing. Some challenges, as with everything. Everybody's not gonna agree 100% of the time. But hopefully we are serving District 1 well. Hopefully they are pleased with the service that we are rendering. And so we're enjoying the work that we're doing with the other council persons and our mayor. And so hopefully they are as pleased with the work that we're doing as I am with doing that work. So we're happy about that. We both of us now. Hey, I'm not going to take full responsibility for being busy. Both of us have been busy. So how have you been doing? I know we I'm gonna talk about that at the end. We share sometimes outside of real talk with some other things, but hey, we ain't gonna bother that right now. Uh, but how have you been? We've been away, and you have celebrated another birthday since the last of us being here.
I have. I
You
have.
so is it? Do you mind if we say how old you are?
54.
Oh gosh, I'm glad you said it first because I was gonna say 55. But you have celebrated a birthday,
I'm gonna let
and,
you slide with that.
and
I saw you try to sneak that in. That's okay though.
no, no, no.
I'm
And
coming
listen,
back. I'm coming all the way around. I'll be back. I'll be back.
you've been busy. So how have you been? I know
I've been good. I've
you've
been
been
good.
okay.
I had an opportunity that Pastor John Horton is on at this time. He invited me to come up on his first year as the pastor at the Macedonia Baptist Church in East St. Louis. He and his wife celebrated their first year there at a beautiful, beautiful ministry. So I had an opportunity to
That it is.
fly to St. Louis
That it
because
is.
my good friend didn't forget me.
That's right. And
Amen.
we were honored and
Yeah.
humbled to go 1 month before you went. So we this young man he doesn't forget.
He's a Joseph.
He didn't forget. And so
He's a Daniel. He
but
take
now
his friends with him.
did Daniel take his friends with? Oh,
He did.
he
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
he took him with him. He
He
did.
did.
He
He
did.
did.
Okay. Okay. But
We're not
listen,
in Bible
when
study.
I tell you they are blessed. If
They
you're
are.
in the area of St. Louis, check out Macedonia Baptist Church. Pastor Harden and Lady Harden are doing some wonderful things there, and we so appreciate them for remembering us and thinking about us, and getting us to come out. Well, for me to share my portion. I know when you win, hey, you ain't got to tell me, but I'm just grateful I was able to share my portion.
Yeah. Share your portion. Listen, a lot has went on. Oh my. We're gonna bring our guests on in just a few minutes. But a lot has went on, Bishop, since we've been gone.
Definitely, a
Do
lot
you
is
just
going on.
want to just share a few things that has went on that just come across your mind at this time?
Well, one thing that I do want to say, and I know this made national news, with the um Russell, what's her name?
Carly?
Carly. And I know everybody's saying we need to let it go. I don't necessarily want to talk about the situation with where it ended up. But I do have to make mention of the efforts that were made, and how quickly they were made to really look for her and search for her, with how we know that sometimes when it comes to women of color, black and brown community, in those minorities, that sometimes those efforts are not made. So we cannot let one incident, we know that was the incident
Yeah.
where and I say that because I think everybody knows, and I won't go into the details of it, but we cannot let that one incident keep us from, when things happen, when we come up missing, that we immediately get on that and really get the attention that it needs, and that everyone deserves when they are in that situation. So we can't let one bad apple, whatever surrounds that, just spoil it, and we have to think about those that still haven't come home,
Yeah.
those that
Mhm.
were killed, and still missing, that attention.
And the thing that I think that, I understand, if there are some possible mental uh illness there, I pray that she somehow, some way, seek the attention that she needs in order to receive help with that. But Bishop, the one thing that kind of frustrate me, if they are just doing it to get attention, is that the people that are still missing, that really need help, that really need someone to be looking for them, as if maybe some people take that as if it's a possibility of someone else crying wolf, and there is no wolf. You know what I'm saying? See,
Yeah,
that right there kind of, it hurts those that really need that attention. Those that because I think they created a GoFundMe account. Am I correct?
I think one was created. I think there were several things that were done
Right,
like that. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And see, people gave their money, and at the point in time when I read, they have not, they had not refunded the money, and because it was still under investigation, even though she did show back up. So we definitely, there's some seriousness, consequences that comes behind faking things like this, and we'll see what the punishment is going to be in the near future. But yes, that was one of the something that hit the news real hard. What else did you um want to bring to the attention of all the Real Talk viewers?
Well, I don't know if it's bringing attention to it, but I think that we, as a people, can I say it that way, need to really be mindful, and I stay woke. Let me say it that way. I know it's supposed to be stay awake, but you need to stay woke. Stay woke. Because one of the things that I did want to mention, that I thought was interesting, was what the decision of the Florida um, Board of Education to approve new
Yeah,
social studies standards, as it relates to what they call Stop Wrongs Against Our Kids and Employees Act, or the Stop WOKE Act. And I thought that was interesting, because that was where the Individual Freedom Act, commonly known as Stop Wrongs to Our Kids and Employees, which regulates the content of instruction and training in school and workplaces. That act in itself was developed, or is saying that slaves benefited
Yeah.
from slavery.
Yeah.
We benefited from slavery, and we gained that slaves gained skills from slavery. And so, what was interesting to me is the measures that they went through. What was it, a couple of years ago, a
Yes.
year or so ago, to take away the critical race theory,
Yeah.
and now it seems as though you want to trade one for the other and say, okay, we don't necessarily want to make people feel bad for what their forefathers, we don't want to feel bad for what our forefathers did, but we don't mind you still living from the residual or being affected by what was done to our forefathers,
Yeah.
what it still does today. And so I thought that right there is that was one of the other things that was interesting to me, is that, and we listen, Kamala Harris did a speech. Where was she? I can't remember where she was now. And I need to go back and see where she was for those that did not hear her. I can't remember now if it was in Florida or where it was she visited. It may have been Florida. But she was with some people during that time, and she did a whole speech. I don't know if it was planned or what, but she had a good rebuttal to that. She had a good rebuttal to that, in that families were separated, parents were taken from their children, husbands and fathers were stripped from their families, children from their parents. Uh, the most inhumane um, conditions. Just think about the inhumane conditions. No soap to bathe with. Women, even during their ministry administration cycle, during their cycles, were not, they didn't have soap, and even more so during that time. Very inhumane treatment. You can't say we gathered skills from it. If anything, we what, tenacity, courage. When you look at that freed the slaves, help me, Harriet Tubman. When you look at those people who, courage, how our and I know I'm going a little bit far out, but how we hear those um spirituals and we sing them, but those spirituals carried meaning. Those spirituals gave, it was it carried meaning. Then it let them, when those they were being sang, it meant something. They were really sending out signal, or it was a code to that music. So I just think that we have to stay awake, and the people in Florida have to stay awake. Because you can't just turn one for the other. That to me was very disheartening, that to hear that. To hear that. That was something else that I was gonna mention. The Supreme Court did. Um it'll come back.
Was it something about the schools?
No, the Supreme Court overturned or voted down the oh gosh, somebody help me.
What is that they decided to do, that they don't allow? There's no. What is it that they're not?
Affirmative action.
There
Thank
you
you.
go. There you
Thank you,
go.
Trustee.
I knew it
Thank
was something like that. It has something to do with schools, though, right?
Well, affirmative action has to do with schools. It has to do with
But
employment. Yeah.
this wasn't overall. It was just toward schools at this time, right?
Some college, some
Right,
one of the colleges.
right. And I know what affirmative action
Yolanda Kimball, thank you. Reversal of the affirmative action in college.
College admissions, yeah. I
Yeah,
knew it had something to do with school.
yeah.
Um,
But now here's the thing: when you start messing with affirmative action
yeah,
in one area,
yeah,
it's gonna eventually trickle down to or trickle out to other areas of so but when you like to think that, okay, I think the biggest thing is that we would all like to think that you don't need affirmative action. But
that
the
we
reality
would
of it,
all like to think that,
we
yeah.
would all like to think that. We would all like to think that people have matured and grown to a point to where they don't look at the color of your skin. And when it comes to being admitted into college, when it
Yeah,
comes to
we
getting a
should be
job,
past that now.
we should be. But in a lot of ways, when you look at it, a lot of ways and a lot of ways we're going in the wrong direction. We're
Yeah.
going in the wrong direction with a lot of things, and that was something else that was really caused concern for me. And like I say, it's been so long since we've been here, man. I think it's been 1,001 things going on. You
Mm-hmm.
know, the former president, number 45, was indicted for the third time today. That took yesterday or today. I think it appeared in court. No, it was today. So that's been so much that's really taken place since the last time that we that we
We
that we
we
that,
was on.
and when I think about it, this is the one thing that I really think about with with Martin Luther King and that fight is to desegregate. Desegregate. I think that we all have to stop and think about what it meant. Uh, George said he had the nerve to plead not guilty. Um, what it means when the fight was for desegregation. You know, so it's. I know we got two guests tonight, so I
Right.
just think that we should think about what it meant to desegregate. Desegregate, um, but that meaning we can desegregate, but at the time our books were not, the education that we received. Let's just talk about Carver for example. Okay, Carver is over here that was segregated, but look at what Carver was being given, as it relates to how much was spent on each pupil, the books. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
those
Right.
educators, you call some of those educators from Carver, that like Beulah Harrell, that's still living, Mr. Baker, Miss Harrell, who else? Those others, what they took, little or nothing, and produced professionals from all walks of life. And it wasn't desegregation, wasn't to say we wanted the same, treated
Exactly.
equally,
Exactly.
to be treated equally. And I think sometimes we as a people also need to go back and look at that. We need
Yeah.
to go back and see what that really meant. So I don't know. I'm gonna get off my soapbox and let you get on yours for a little while. Some things that maybe you thought were
Well,
out to
all
you?
the things that you shared is very interesting, and it is news, and those that didn't see it, we hope that you kind of get in tune with what's going on in the world. We don't only deal with just local news, but we deal with national news. But you and I was able to attend the Gaston City uh, schools first day with all the instructors and faculty and staff as they had an assembly, and just want to share a few things that let's take a look at. I think this is the one I'm going to show now is going to be one from where the pearls was going to be presented. String of pearls. Let's take a look at this.
This particular principal at her school, you know, it's a lady now, right? So 3 guys have gotten it. Matter of fact, 19 guys have got it because the staff is all male. Has done an amazing job. I have watched her as I go around to the schools, just be very, very, very present and it's very evident as to who she is at her particular school. She's gone through some trials. You know, we had one school improvement here recently, and she came out of that with flying colors. I think the thing that really touched my heart was she has a very large special needs population as well as a very large EL population. And there's this one kid that struggles. And I've seen situations and instances where, you know, we may just call the parent and say, hey, come get this kid, take him home. He's way too much for us to handle today. Excuse me.
Take your time.
And I watch her
Take your time, Mr. Reed.
pick him up, carry him to where he needs to go. She clearly showed that the attributes that she exercises in her home is the same one she exercises in her school. She loves her children. All of you do, I'm certain of that. This year's recipient of the String of Pearls is Ms. Thomasina Smith.
Congratulations to Miss Thomasina. That was awesome. You was there to witness that live, and I didn't know that story, but I know Miss Smitherman does a great job at Adams, and they have had some difficult times because she have a very large EL population there. So, but she does what she have to do in order to make sure that all of her children know that they matter. Here's another, and the last video we're going to show, and this is, I saw you do that, and this is going to be concerning the exit of our superintendent.
I've consulted with our Board of Education, and they have accepted my resignation as superintendent in the former retirement. So this will be my last time meeting with all of you as superintendent. I may have a big party someday, and I invite you all, so we get a chance to meet then. But I will finish my tenure as superintendent on August the 31st. And so on September 1st, you won't see me. I wanted to
and that was making the people know, those that was not there, it was emotional, and it got very emotional. So our superintendent is going to be retiring. He spent 35 years in our system, and we thank him for his service. Well done. We're going to be back with our guests, our first guest on our show, in just a few minutes.
DJ Shona. For all your musical entertainment, book DJ Shona at Everett_Huff at cloud.com 256-393-9843.
This upcoming First Friday, August 4th, I'll be having my very first art show at the Gaston Museum from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. It is something that I've wanted to do since I was a wee little girl, so it would mean so much to me if you guys would just swing by, have a little wine, and act like you like my artwork. Hope to see you there. Bye.
Hey guys, it's Neonta Williams, founder of Black Alabamians for Education. I'm so super excited that we are here to share with you that our Parent Symposium 2023 is on the books. It is August the 12th on a Saturday from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. Registration is free. Roland Martin is going to be our keynote speaker. We also have a QR code here that you can scan if you would like to register. Again, registration is free. I know you're asking, what is a symposium? The idea is that it is the largest gathering of parents, elected officials, and community members to discuss education and how we can prepare our students for a successful academic school year in 2023-2024. Why not register? It's free in Gaston. We look to see you there.
And we are back here on Real Talk. You got Pastor Z, Bishop T. Our first guest tonight is none other than Miss Adrienne Reed. Hello, Adrienne. How are you?
I'm super. How are y'all?
We're doing pretty good. We're so happy to have you on in a different capacity.
Look at all of us with these great t-shirts on.
Oh yeah.
Y'all can make me a part of the family.
Yeah. Welcome for the first time on Real Talk.
Oh no, thank you. I appreciate it. It's an honor.
To those that do not know or may not know, which I'm sure that you do, Adrienne Reed served as District 1 school board member of the Gaston City School System. She also worked at the employment office, following her father's footstep. And for as being on school board, she's following her mother's footsteps, who was an educator. But now this is something a little different. Share with us what you got going on.
First of all, when you asked me to be on the show, I was just like, man, because I keep trying to downplay it, and it's really, to me, a big deal. Like, right. I think a lot of people don't even put themselves in the spaces to have an art show. So at the Gaston Museum on tomorrow, I have 13 pieces that I've been working on. Technically, I've been working on them for some decades. I just never really thought I'd ever take the time to put them in a show. But I have photography with a little bit of acrylic art, and it's just all portraits of Black people. The name of the show is We Outside, because it's a celebration of us being free-ish and having the luxury to spend time with ourselves and do stuff that's not just what we have to do all the time. And then it's kind of like a reflection of what it was for me just putting the show together. Because like, as you said, I got a full-time job. I'm a half-time mom. I'm on.
What is that? What is a halftime, Mom? Go ahead. Don't answer that. Go ahead.
My daughter's 16, so she basically raising herself. She's 16, and she's very, very close with her grandparents. So, you know, I know they pick up a lot of the slack, so I don't have to worry about it so much. But that's why I was rushing to get on the show, because we were practicing for ACT before. So that's full time right now. But the show is opening from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock tomorrow, and the main message of it is just us, meaning especially Black people, investing in ourselves, like investing in what brings them joy. So my father is, you know, he is all the time with a camera. When he was at the in-service yesterday, he brought his camera, so he had some good footage of Mr. Reddick playing that guitar yesterday and all that. But he put a camera in my hand when I was 16, and I've been shooting ever since. So the whole show is actually film photography that I had developed. And then my father's also a painter, so he kind of probably passed that on to me too, his love for art. So it's just a celebration of Black people just having the luxury to do the things that we want. We don't always have that time, so we have to be intentional about investing in us, especially in a world that is all the time trying to sap us of our energy, sap us of our joy. You know, despite everything, we have to invest in ourselves.
And I'm glad you mentioned tomorrow, because I had Saturday down. So I had to go in there and change it real quick, and we got it on the screen now, scrolling across for those who are looking forward to this wonderful art show. It's starting at 5 until 7. So is there
it's 5 until 8, but if they can't come tomorrow when everybody's just gonna be, you know, acting like they like what they see, it'll be up for another month. It's actually been hanging for a month, but this is the reception for local artists, which is really cool, because I think we have like 5 local artists in this showcase across the whole building in the Gaston Museum. It's also really cool too, because it's First Friday, so people can go out there, look at the cars, get them a funnel cake, and then mosey on in the Gaston Museum, catch them some wine while it lasts, and say, what was her motivation? But there's a lot of great artists in there, so I'm hoping that it can give some people an opportunity to go to the museum that's probably never gone, and have them regularly going in there. It's free, you know, it's our tax dollars that are paying for it. Thank you, Councilwoman.
And it is an awesome place. It is awesome. You know, we think a lot of times, I'm guilty. I've said Gaston doesn't have this, Gaston doesn't have that. A lot of times we're just not taking advantage of the things that we do have. The museum is an awesome place, and kudos and congratulations to you, for being one of the local talents that's being exhibited. It is awesome. It is. I didn't even know that you were a photographer, and I didn't know you were. I didn't know it.
Well, this is my coming out party.
Okay.
Honestly.
I'm coming now.
Because it's my first time, and I was inspired by one of my friends. His name is Brad Norris. He's also a local artist. He owns a salon downtown, and he had his art show last year. And he contacted Ray Wetzel, you know him, at the museum. And I said, let me just ask. So I had a whole year to prepare, and talking about all the things. Like y'all in the beginning of the show, we're talking about all the stuff that you just have to catch up on, just having conversations on Real Talk, right?
Right.
You being a board member, you being a council person, me being a board member, and also Habitat for Humanity keeps me very busy too. It's tough. Being a part-time mom, it is tough. So like, even though I had a year to prepare, carving out time for Adrienne to say, let's go take some pictures. Let's go set this up. Let's go put yourself in your studio and just really hunker down and paint was very difficult. It's difficult to invest in yourself because sometimes you feel guilty. You know, you're like, I should be doing laundry, or I should be fundraising, or I should be talking to parents or something like that. So the reason why I was really happy that you did ask me to come on, because I think it's more than just the art show. I just have a message of whatever it is that brings people joy, make sure you're putting that in your life continuously. Like, y'all do this, and that's a service to the community. And hopefully y'all, I know y'all fight, but hopefully y'all bring each other joy doing it.
We do. That's our relationship.
He plays too much. He plays too much.
She plays. She goes too far.
Too much.
She goes too far.
But yeah, I just want to inspire people to try to say, you know what, I'm gonna do this for me. I'm gonna carve out a little bit of time for me, and it's so hard. I mean, we're already, just as Black folks, we're already behind the power curve in America. We're 500 years behind. So me speaking specifically to people of color who haven't had the luxury by design in this country to have time for themselves and say, despite all that, make some time for yourself is a tall ask. But I'm just trying to.
What I like about it is that, normally if you see a person do something, it's always seen to be what's popular, and it's mimicking pretty much something. It's going to be, if somebody do this, it's somebody else going to be doing right. Like rap. Everybody rapping. I mean, I saw Man on Kane rapping the other day, got an album out. I mean, everybody want to be a rapper. Who dare to be different? Who dare to be different and take that? I mean, when you look at the Serena and the Venuses, they dared to be different. They tried something that we wasn't trying. When you look at Tiger Woods, he tried something and he mastered it. I look at people when they take the piano and they master the piano and the organ and things like that. Sometimes, and when you see them, you're like, wow. So to take art, which you see art, but you don't see art in the making. And when we recognize art from people on a bigger scale. But here you are stepping out of your comfort zone. You're doing something for the very first time and you presenting it to the world. And I applaud you for that. So thank you for being different.
I have another example for you too, Mr. Reddick.
Okay.
Tony Reddick's art, the last showcase that he did, where he just did like the inverted, like heat signature version of Beyonce and Sade and Dizzy Gillespie and all these people. Like, I've never seen anything like that. The level of talent, dedication, time, and imagination that it takes to even have a vision like that, that man, I love that man. I'm proud of that man. But that's another person that was doing something different.
Right.
Right. I will say this. You said it when you were 16. And I say this because Pastor Z just said something about Serena and her sister and Tiger. Is that for your father? There's something that he saw that made him put a camera in your hand. And here's the thing. I applaud parents who, especially like Serena and Venus's dad, Tiger Woods' parents, who said, there's no boundary. You don't see a lot of Black and brown people doing this, but there's something that I see in you that says you can be great at this. And they didn't let that color barrier or the fact that there are not a lot of us in it deter them from good. So, thank God for the parents that see a little something and say, oh, yeah, because I will say this, and you make me think, because when you said your father put a camera in your hand, I'll say this, all of my campaign pictures, my little niece took them, and she took them when she was like maybe 4, 5 years old. And by the time we got through with the photo shoot, she had a scarf wrapped around her neck and sunglasses on. She was in full character.
That is so amazing. But that's important.
Yeah.
It's important. And that's another thing too. I've been really encouraging my friends to bring their kids to it too. And they're the only opinions I've been asking for. It's children.
Right.
I'm like,
because
okay,
they're honest. Children are honest.
Yeah.
Oh, that's ugly. I don't like that.
Yeah.
You wrote that? You wrote that? Yeah. They honest.
Some of them ugly to me because, like I said, it was just a matter of making the time. And in retrospect, I said, okay, you need like 3 months. No, I probably need about 6. But guess what? I've got, God willing, more opportunities in the future to do better, to make things look exactly like I want. But it's all about putting that time aside and saying, Adrienne, let's invest in you right now.
Right.
You got all this stuff going on. You the main one that's always telling me to sit down somewhere.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's really hard. But
I'll be looking out for you though. Be honest, I'll be looking out for you.
And trying to tell you what to do.
So Adrienne Reed presents her very own art show, y'all, going down tomorrow, August 4th, 2023, starting at 5 p.m. and it's until 8 at the Gaston Museum, 515 Broad Street, Gaston, Alabama. If you're at First Friday, go by and holler at Adrienne. Let her know you are in the house. Check out her artwork. Drink a little wine if you want to, but enjoy yourself.
Cheese, light hors d'oeuvres.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. See, tax dollars. That's our tax dollars. Thank you. Thank y'all. This was a lot of fun.
You got a lot of people saying, hey, so if you have your final say to put your plug in to get people to come out and support you, we're going to give that to you at this moment.
Okay. Well, the main thing is I put so much into it. I just wanted to feel like I got a little bit out of it. But honestly, I already got it because my parents are like, wow, you might be all right. So
okay. That
made me feel good. But the show is called We Outside. I want y'all to come outside First Friday and check out the show.
All right. And
our other artists that are going to be there too. They're all through the whole museum. It's really great.
Awesome. That's going down tomorrow, y'all. Gaston Museum, or the art show right there on Broad Street. Start at 5 p.m. Go by and check it out. Thank you, Miss Adrienne. Everybody show some love. Hit the heart buttons for Miss Adrienne Reed. Let her know you love her and you support her. Everybody, thank you. Thank you, Miss Adrienne. We'll see you soon. All right. Wonderful. We appreciate her coming on and sharing that information with us on today. Now we're preparing to bring on a Gaston native who serves on school board there in Birmingham, Alabama. She's actually the president, and we'll let her share what school board it is. But there's some very important event that she's getting ready to bring to us on the 12th of August. And let's everyone welcome Miss Neonta Williams. Hello, Miss Neonta. How are you?
I'm fantastic. How y'all doing?
Doing good. We done had you backstage on ice. You like in the bullpen when they be telling the pitcher, relief pitcher, to warm up, and then they tell them that's okay. We ain't gonna call you in yet. Then get up and warm up again, and you're anxious and you're ready to get on, and now you're here. Hello. How are you?
Man, I'm wonderful. You using baseball or softball as an example. I'm thinking about basketball, sitting on the bench with Coach Croft, like, let me in, Coach. I'm ready. Let me in. You have had a great conversation tonight so far. Good stuff.
Yes. You have something very important that is going to be taking place here in Gaston on the 12th. And of course, they told everyone to save the date. We just want you to see this. This is a Parent Symposium, Year of Evidence. We're looking for some results this year. Keynote speaker, Mr. Roland S. Martin. Roland S. Martin is going to be from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. At the venue at Coosa Landing. We're looking forward to a lot of great things. I heard you kind of share with us concerning the breakout sessions and panels, and you were going to let you share with us that. The registration is free and open to all. So talk to us a little bit about this Parent Symposium. What should those that attend this Parent Symposium expect, other than hearing from the Mr. Wonderful Roland Martin? What else should we be looking for to receive from this symposium?
Yeah. First, thank you both for first of all, creating this platform, and then second of all, affording me the opportunity to come on and talk about it. So I think the first thing they're going to expect is the love of Gaston. So for those that don't know, this is statewide. It's a statewide event. Actually, if people want to fly in from outside of Alabama, they can. But we are actually busing people in from Huntsville, Birmingham, and Dothan, as well as our local Gastonians being present. And so I think the first thing they're going to get is just a great atmosphere, a great facility. But what people can expect is, I want to say, is like a family reunion on steroid, but with purpose. Years ago, we used to hear about, I think it's Tom Joyner. He would have his party with a purpose. He would have his cruises where it was designed to fundraise for HBCUs to make sure the students had scholarships. And what we want this event to be, what I really want this event to be, is more like a homecoming, not a prodigal child homecoming. Nobody's done any wrong, but just bringing it back for me to where it all started from, to show gratitude for the city of Gaston, for all of those mature people now that are able to witness us, the three of us, being in these types of leadership positions we're in. But the biggest thing is taking that knowledge that we have and then giving it back to the community. So when we look realistically at how Black children, so the name of the organization is Black Alabamians for Education. And our mission is to equip, inform, and empower Black families with information on access and a high quality K-12 education. Sounds like a lot, but ultimately what we want is that students graduate from high school, college and or career ready. And as you and I both know, serving on the school board, there were 10 standards that the state of Alabama uses to determine if students are college and or career ready. Well, this upcoming year, there are 4 additional standards that's been added to that. And so a lot of parents, a lot of grandparents, a lot of caregivers, a lot of business owners, a lot of community members just don't know what those standards are. And so we want to bring people in like a living room conversation. Like I said, for the culture, people are going to be greeted by a DJ at 7 o'clock in the morning with a lot of excitement, checking in for those that have already registered, picking up name badges, picking up their bags, being able to grab some coffee, donuts, danishes, whatever the case may be, going right into the venue, taking their seat and receiving about a 30-minute welcome from the city of Gaston. For me as the founder, just to talk about what we're going to do. Of course, we're going to open up in prayer. And then from there will be a total throughout the day of 6 different breakout sessions. One I just talked about. What are those high school, college, and or career ready standards? For people that are listening in, there is a difference between receiving a high school diploma and a certificate of attendance. There are actually some students who go to school for 13 years and they walk across the stage to receive a certificate of attendance. And all that simply means is that you showed up for 13 consecutive years, the amount of days the state said you were supposed to, and you met absolutely no standard. So we want to make sure that people know the difference between the two. So I don't want to just focus on
let me ask you something before you move it past that. So when they get the certificate of attendance, does manufacturers can they identify those certificates?
So there is a difference. I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Do they recognize those certificates, and is that certificate on the same level. It wouldn't be on the same level as a GED, would it?
It's not.
Oh, it's
not
hard to get jobs with those certificates, right?
It absolutely is. It's hard to get jobs. And I'm glad you actually kind of asked a question around the manufacturing piece, because if we are paying attention on a global scale or just even here in the States, there's a lot of emphasis on workforce development, having our students ready to go into the workforce industry. Our state elected officials, our governor, even our mayors at different levels are really good at recruiting these industries to come into the city. Gaston just got approved, just city council just approved a $250 million investment in the city of Gaston that, according to the article that was written, is talking about people being able to make as low as $40,000 to $50,000 and as high as $90,000. Those workforce positions, students who graduate from high school, there are trades that they can get in school that have them ready. Once they walk across that stage and get that high school diploma, they can apply to walk right into something that can change their life from a financial standpoint. So, just kind of tie, and I see you nodding your head. Bishop T, you probably want to jump in.
Yeah, let me jump in just for a quick minute. You said something. Industries are coming in, but if you don't have the people to meet those requirements and get those jobs, you're still not doing your city any good. That means that people are going to be coming more so from surrounding areas. So you have to have that career development, just like what Gaston State is building right now in front of toward that you see going up toward East Broad Street. That's what that is. And so it's gotta do it. That's even with the plant that's coming, having people who can do the construction jobs, who are ready for those construction jobs, to get those jobs to build and erect those buildings. So you gotta make sure that
and you know what, it used to be a time where you get on the job training, not no more. You got to know your stuff. There were folks down at the depot where I worked, didn't know what a Phillip head screwdriver was. I'm like, how you get on out here? How did you get this job? You know what a Phillip screwdriver is? But you have to know, you have to get educated, take advantage of what is being offered. Like you said before, Bishop T, there's some things we complain about, but there's a lot of things that we could take advantage of that we don't even take advantage of. We don't even know that it actually is here in our city or even in our system.
Exactly. Yep. And you're right. And that's really, I mean, we family. So y'all, look, that's essentially what we are trying to do with this Parent Symposium. We want to be able to bring information in so that folks can say that, they have gained something, and now they know if it's something that's discussed at the symposium that's not offered in their district, now they have knowledge on what they can go back and inquire about. And 9 times out of 10, it's being offered. People just don't know. When I was in school at Litchfield, we had the trade center. And so, Gaston High, Emma Sampson were bussed over to the east side of town to go to the technology center to get that information. So it was just trades, right? So now the state calls it CTE, Career Technology Education. But when you talk to the old heads in the community, they're saying, man, y'all need to bring back trades. Well, guess what? They're still here. They never left. The name got changed. And then, specialized in different categories. So to your point, Bishop T, about the construction piece, the welding piece, the electrical piece. And the thing about it is our students don't have to wait until they graduate from high school. They can actually get those certifications while in school. Exactly. So,
and that's something that's something that we're bringing and we is implementing in our system where you can do virtual working on getting the virtual forklift driving training, CDLs, getting these things while they're in school. And so there's a lot of the technology is something else, and we got to embrace it. Let me ask you this: are we, and I know you will discuss this because they really need parents really need to get involved with the children for reasons that their ills are coming down, that if your child cannot read by the 3rd grade, they will be retained. No if and buts about it. And reading has got to start in the home. And sadly, but true, that some of your parents cannot read themselves. So
That is true.
You serve as president of what school board?
So I'm blessed to serve as the president of Birmingham City School Boards right now.
Okay. So just to throw this out here. So say you have a grandparent, and in a lot of cases, grandparents are actually playing the parent. They could be 70 years old and they are parent of a 7-year-old kid because the mother of that child probably is nowhere around, or maybe, fell on hard times, and maybe, whatever that it may be, that grandparent is in charge. And that grandparent may have had a 3rd grade education and dropped out. So they doing everything they can to save their grandchild. What would just and I know the symposium is going to cover a lot of things, but what kind of resources or help can you give that grandparent to help that child read at a level that the grandparent isn't reading on?
Yeah, it's really, I actually think the answer is really simple. It's not incumbent on the adults to know how to read. Teachers are teachers. They are educated professionals. They know what they are supposed to be doing to ensure that the students are learning. Now, that doesn't negate what parents should be doing at home, but for a grandparent or a non-traditional parent or parent who cannot read, their role is to make sure they are communicating with their child's teacher and the administrators in the school about whether or not their child is on grade level. Each year, at least twice a year, students are taking standardized exams. They start on the 3rd grade level. And I think this is great that you brought this up, because so what happened was actually 3 years ago, the Alabama New Literacy Act was passed. And essentially this law is exactly what you said, that if children are not reading on 3rd grade level, by the time they're in the 3rd grade, they're going to hold those children back so that they can get on grade level like they need to be. Because for folks who may not have heard, it's at the 3rd grade that the federal government uses those statistics to determine how many prisons they need to build based on how proficient our students are reading. Right. And shortly after, the Numeracy Act was passed, and then 2 years later, the Literacy Act was passed. And so technically the Literacy Act should have been active 3 years ago, the year it was passed, but we had State Representative Smitherman here out of the Birmingham district pleaded, because we were still in a pandemic. He pleaded for the Senate and the legislature to postpone that bill for 2 years. And so this is the year that the bill is actually going to be active. And so all of the school districts by now, actually before this summer started, should have notified every single parent that their child was potentially in question or in danger of being held back. So what school districts did across the state, because it was mandated, is that they had summer enrichment programs that specifically were for reading. So those children should have been enrolled in those programs. What those grandparents can do is go and ask directly, where is my child? Now, granted, when those standardized exams come back, when you look at those papers, if you don't know what you're, looking at, and they have a graph, so you may not know how to read, but you may be able to understand the graph. But get the next door neighbor, get your church member, get your pastor, get somebody else. If you don't know, get a trusted person to say, baby, I don't understand. You don't have to tell folk you don't know how to read. Who wants to do that? But you can say, baby, I don't understand. I need you to help me understand, what does this mean, so I can make sure my child is enrolled in whatever extracurricular, because, and I cut myself off, but whatever extra programs the districts have made available. And the thing about it is that the federal government has made money available, which then rolled down to the states. And this is ESSER dollars, the Every Student Succeed Act money, that was rolled down for districts to have access to be able to help students and help parents and guardians close that reading, that numeracy and reading gap. So there is no excuse for folks to say, I did not know, especially if you are concerned. That's why it's important for every single parent to be involved.
Right. Got a question one of our viewers asked. It said, what significance or what role does the Work Keys assessment that our high school seniors take play in Gaston economic development and bring jobs to our community?
Yeah, that's a great question. I thank you, Ms. Kimball. That's a great question. So for those that may not know what the Work Keys assessment is, and I'm going to get into this. I'm actually the one facilitating the college and career readiness standards at the session. We have a number of speakers, but I'm going to do this one. But with Work Keys, you hear about the ACT, right? That's the test, the ACT or SAT test that typically students who know they want to go to college take. And there's a certain score they have to make to enter. It may be as low as 17. I think the highest you can make on the ACT is a 34. So we can range from there. That determines if you get scholarships, if you get any additional have any additional financial aid made available to you. So for athletes and academics, and then those are two measurements that are looked at. You can also take and I'm going to get to her question about Work Keys. I guess I'll just go there without explaining the risk. So Work Keys is a state standard that is used, and essentially this is a basic skills test that students who may not be interested in going to college and not sure what kind of career path they want to go into, it is a basic test asking about socialization, things that they like to do, things that they don't like to do, and then it doesn't so much assess their skills to do the task, but it varies in the different things that it asks. And ultimately at the end, this Work Keys test will say that this student has enough skill sets that when they graduate from high school, if they pass it with a certain score, that they are in fact ready to go into the workforce. So if all else fails, they do not want to go to college, they do not want to go directly into a trade, there are employers like this new business that's coming in, those new companies like Hyundai, Airbus down in Mobile, they can use the Work Keys test that the students take, and based upon the score, they can actually say this potential employee is ready to come into our company and start at a certain skill level. And so that is one of the assessments that a high school student can take to determine that they are in fact ready to go to work and or go to college.
Okay. Now I heard you mention on multiple occasions about the session that you're going to have called Blow the Whistle. Talk about it.
Yeah, so that one is called Come On Ref, Blow the Whistle. And if you know me, you know I'm a sports fanatic, but one of the things that made me really want to have this session is that we are me, but of course my team, I'm not speaking in as a single I person, but a lot of the vision, we've been thinking about this for years. But if you are a fan of sports, a lot of times you at some point have yelled at the ref, come on ref, blow the whistle, whether it's football, basketball, whatever sport it is. And as fans, oftentimes parents tend to think that they have the best athlete in town. Every one of their kids are going to the NFL. Everyone's going to the NBA, WNBA. They're going to play soccer in the Olympics. They're going to be on TV right now playing with the women's soccer team. Like, everybody has these grandiose ideas, but somehow miss the fact that if your child is not academically prepared and have not taken the specific courses that the NC2A requires, they will in fact be in rec ball or coaching. No indictments on coaches, locally coaching, but living vicariously through pickup basketball or flag football if they do not do what they need to do academically. So this session is designed to make sure parents understand those academic requirements. They don't start in high school. They actually start in middle school. And then
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say also not only the type of athlete, but the type of parent that colleges and universities want to have at their school. Since this NIL deals have come into play, the transfer portal since the pandemic, there is like no commitments. And so people are literally, staying at one school. When I graduated from Litchfield, I earned a 4-year athletic and academic scholarship to Miles College. It was for 4 years. Today, when kids graduate, it's 1 year, maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
so you may be not this year, and then it's on to the next. And so, one of the things, though, too, I want people to get out this session is that parents will come to the games and they will act, this is for everybody in the back. They'll act a plum fool I mean,
Right.
embarrassing to their
Right.
child, to the coach, embarrassing to the institution. And so parents are going to have to hear from folks on the collegiate level that this is not the type of child they want to recruit. This is not the type of family they want representing their institution.
Exactly.
So, just some nuggets.
And I used to share all the time with athletes, especially when I see athletes that were real good but had attitude issues. I said, you never know who's in the stand watching you. You never know who's in the stand watching you. And there could be somebody be recruiting you. But if they see you responding to the coach the way you're responding, you're uncoachable. They don't want to deal with that. I played with for Stan Cook at Gaston State for 2 years. Stan Cook stopped recruiting in Birmingham because those guys came from Birmingham and they would just run over the coach. And the coach said, I just have to win with what I have here in Gaston. I'm not finna be going to Birmingham getting these guys anymore because these guys, man, they off the chain. And then another thing, social media. We see with Ja Morant multiple times and got himself in trouble, all because you want to post something on social media. I think somebody went to a prom. I can't remember who the young man was, highly recruited. A young lady was highly recruited and was accepted into a college. And on prom had some guns in her hand on social media, and they took a scholarship from her. There's a lot of things that people need to realize and understand that can consequences can come down on you just by you thinking all I'm doing is having fun. Well, your having fun can cost you.
It can. I say all the time, and I know you all have heard this, your gift can get you where your character cannot keep you. Yeah. And we have a long history of people in recent years, who have made just one wrong decision, one immature, one childish, one unwise, one unadvised, one, against the grain decision, thinking that I can do what I want to do. And then ultimately, it causes them a lifetime of heartache. And so, just helping us understand, because there is so much. Black children are born inherently intelligent and talented.
I just saw a reel today. And that was a young man who was playing for the Rams, NFL, wide receiver. And the coach called him in. One of the rules the coach said was you can't have guests doing training section. You can't have any guests in your room. And the guy, when he came to the meeting to meet with the head coach, he said, what you didn't understand about my rule? He said, well, she never came to spend the night. She just came to visit. She wasn't going to stay the night. He said, but I told you, I was very clear in telling you could not have any guests or any company during the spring training. He said, did you not understand? He said, yes, sir, I understood. He said, well, I'm going to have to cut you. Released him from his pro contract. He was a rookie about to make millions. Now he's cut. And I don't know if anybody ever picked him up. And I saw that reel today and I was like, wow. But our actions can cause us to lose everything we've dreamed and we worked hard for. And your actions in the classroom, it can cost you. It can definitely cost you. Neonta, we have expecting to hear, and everybody's excited that you got Mr. Roland Martin that's going to be coming to be the keynote speaker. For those that don't know Mr. Roland Martin, let's just show you a clip of him in action.
When we talk about aborting babies, so you're saying to me that because we support life, actually giving babies the opportunity to live, I'm confused. I'm so confused.
No. First of all, hold up. You're confused because you think I'm saying something that I'm not.
Well, tell me what you're saying.
What I'm telling you, I'm being very clear. You cannot say you are pro-life when you vote against prenatal care for the mother. You cannot say you are pro-life when you vote against Head Start. You cannot say you are pro-life when you do not want to expand Medicaid to keep hospitals open. You cannot say you are pro-life when you have OBGYNs who are not available in your state. You cannot say you are pro-life when you have black women who are dying at a higher rate during childbirth and you do nothing public policy-wise to fix it. You cannot say you are pro-life if you allow infant mortality rates to be sky high in areas where there are black and brown people. What that tells me is you are anti-abortion. You are not pro-life. Because if you are pro-life, you care about the child in the womb and when the child is out. And if you are pro-life, you are standing there with black folks when their kids are killed by cops. You are not silent. So if you're pro-life, be pro-life from the womb to the tomb, but not just in the womb. When you talk about blackness,
Roland Martin, keynote speaker. That's going to be there next Saturday, y'all. You got to get out. Roland Martin, I believe, I kind of was came on to Roland Martin after Tavis Smiley kind of went off the scene, and I was a big Tavis Smiley fan. He's a great commentator. I heard he came to Gaston, matter of fact. I think the SCLC brought him to Gaston one year. Me and my brothers went to Wallace Hall to see him. This right when I think Hillary was trying to run for president or something. I can't remember. But he came and he spoke. Man, when I tell you a commentary that, that blew my mind, I love Tavis Smiley. I don't always agree with all his views, and all of a sudden he just really just have disappeared. And then it's like even with the Tom Jonah morning show, Tavis Smiley was on there at the beginning, and then when all his theory and opinions didn't agree with the show, then they went to Roland Martin. He started coming on. So and then I started seeing him on TV One, I believe. So he's amazing. He's amazing. He have his facts. He speak the truth, and he don't mind standing on his own 2 feet. So we're looking forward to hearing from him as well.
You got to send me that clip. When I tell you I am, in the words of Jay-Z, what more can I say about, him being the keynote? We was trying to wanted to identify someone that we knew would bring the fire. Like folks are posting, the fire online, somebody that could really not only bring the fire, but
motivate,
make us get uncomfortable with being comfortable. That's what I wanted. That's what I'm asking him to do. Stir us up, get us uncomfortable with our train throw, the way we are thinking. And the thing, and I want people to hear me, even when I say this about Black Alabamians for Education, like, it could, one outside of the Black race could look at it and be like, wait, what do you mean? I'm just being intentional about engaging Black families. I'm inclusive of all. We all need to know about what's happening in this K-12 system and across the nation. But I just want to be intentional about my people, because I know I grew up in a single parent household. My dad and mom were divorced, but they co-parented us. And so they did what they needed to do, but it was a village. When my parents couldn't come to events, when my parents couldn't come to PTA, when my parents couldn't show up for certain things, there were definitely my friends' parents who were there. They attaboyed me, they cheered us on. And so that's what I want Black Alabamians to be perceived as, something that's intentional but inclusive. So when Roland comes, I want him to step, and I don't have to, in fact, you have to, I don't know if you all know, but he doesn't write speeches.
Right.
So whatever he gives us is coming from his heart. So he's going to bring the fire. He's going to light us up. He's going to empower us to lead and really try to get ourselves together, go back home and think differently about what we've been doing. And you got to send me that clip, because I was about to say, I'm nervous about, how to bring him on the stage. Like, how do you bring somebody like him on the stage? But I think I need to show that clip. That clip is it. I mean, the next voice they'll hear. So send me that clip, please, Pastor.
I will.
So
I will.
Clip it. I ain't gonna clip it. I can send it to the audio guy, let him take it from there. But and So I'm so for real. Gaston means so much to me. Like I have poured my heart out in work and community work across the state, but I do it here in Birmingham. Been doing it for a very, very long time, and I've never lost touch with home. Gaston is home. I remember Bishop T when I was in high school, and I don't know if you were a full-time teacher or you were coming in as a part-time teacher at Leachfield, but you came in, and to see a young Black woman, pulling us to the side and encouraging us, and in fact, Miss Terry, Jonetta Terry, is one of the panelists for the workforce industry. She's a retired educator now. She's an education consultant. So she's working across the state with other folks across their district. So bringing this high level of expertise to the table from people that look like us, that can get us information that can help change the trajectory of our lives. And why are we bringing in people from other places? Because sometimes we can live in our own towns and be in isolation and think that the challenges we're experiencing, nobody else is going through them. Right. So I want people to network together, to learn from each other, learn best practices. Pastor Z, you and I we should, we're on the school board. We shouldn't just go to these conferences, down in Mobile to learn from each other, but we bring this information back home and give our parents and community members the same opportunity to galvanize. And the last thing I say is it's very intentional to have non-traditional community members together, to invite clergy, elected officials, parents, community members into the same place, and we're all focused on education. There's no way we can't walk away and do something powerful where we live to change our communities for the better. There's no way we can't do that.
Right. I must applaud you, and we all applaud you. Real Talk applaud you. All our viewers, all our listeners are applauding you as we speak. We have over 50 people on at this time that I can see on Facebook Live and YouTube, and we want you all to get this information out August the 12th at the venue Akusa Landing. But for you to be representing a school board in Birmingham City Schools, and yet didn't take it to Birmingham, which is a bigger city, much larger city, you bring it back to Gaston because your heart and your love has always been here in Gaston. People of Gaston, you got to appreciate this young lady, because people have a tendency of when they move on, they move on. They don't look back. And for you to move on and doing great things other areas, but at the end of the day, you haven't forgotten home and you want to bless the city of Gaston. We got to applaud you. We got to thank you. We got to appreciate you. And I know you're not doing this for appreciation, but love is what love does. And the flowers, I mean, and to think about the parents and the grandparents here in this city so that they won't have to travel to get this information. You bringing it right to our front door. All you got to do is free. And it's free. And I say that a lot, even about Pastor Jones, when it ain't free when Pastor Jones bring these big time singers, but he could take them elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is for you to bring them here, and all we got to do is they can catch the trolley or catch a ride to the venue, get there by any means necessary to get this information. And it's going to be tons of information. You're talking about 6 breakout sessions. We don't have that many at our school conference. But you're talking about breakout sessions where you can converse, you can ask the questions you need to ask, get the information you need to get, and process it the way that you need to process it, and someone will help you process it. But I see that this is going to be, and we have a program here in the city called Ignite, but this should ignite somebody in this city to listen, and let me say this, parents, don't allow your child to operate on gifts and talents alone. They need education. Yeah. Sometimes we because and back in my day, coaches would turn their head, and teachers would turn their head on a gifted athlete so that they can be eligible to play and wear that jersey. But yet and still, they're failing that child because that child is moving on in grades, but his knowledge and education stopped way back yonder. And I know that's not good grammar, but I meant what I said. But it stopped back there. You know what I'm saying? But they moving them on up. And then when it's time for them to go to college and you discover he can't even talk, can't even read. How in the world did he graduate? So what I'm saying, that we need to make sure that we make education a priority. And one main thing that we must do, in order for them to learn, they got to go to school. Truancy officers, we need to hire 5 truancy officers right now to make sure they knock on some doors and get these children to school. They don't understand that them being out of school, not being absent, affects the grade that the school get. When we start complaining about they got an F on their report card, on the school's report card, it's big. Don't you know, not being in school, it plays against the grade that you receive at that particular school. A lot of people don't know that. Oh, you just can't read. They can't read. It ain't all about you can't read. But if your child ain't coming to school, then it affects the report card.
I'm so glad you're talking about that too. We both learned, again, the state is adding these additional standards, but one of the things that missed days from school, let's talk about absent days. So 10% or 18 days of being absent from school, 18 days throughout a school year. I think they have to get 276 or 35. Don't quote me on how many days the state mandates. We can get that number back to you. But I know when a child misses 18 days, and that is either excused or unexcused absences, the data shows that students lose about 3 to 5 years of learning from missing 18 days in one school year. So school starts back. I know, and I know this is national, it's everywhere, but whenever school starts back in your town, your city, you need to make sure that your child is in school day one ready. I'm talking about ready to learn on day one. I know Gaston City starts August the 9th. I know Birmingham City starts August the 7th on Monday. Day one ready. And shout out to the principals who are wise enough to use, I won't say wise, but who are thoughtful enough to use the resources that they have, whether it's their Title I funding or whatever funding they have, to make sure that students have all the resources they need. I had a conversation. I want to shout out Mr. Parker over at Litchfield. Talked to him earlier this week, and we were talking about what supplies the kids need, or was it a back to school list? And he said, not this year. We're taking care of everything. All the kids need to do is show up. They got the backpacks, whether it's the backpacks, the mesh, and I know part of that is the work of the board, right? So the board, giving the schools the authority to do that. And see, these are the things that parents should come again. Shout out to the symposium to learn what's available. What should you be advocating for? Because a lot of times, some of the things that you get and do not get, it's based on your leader. It's based on your school leader. It's based on the school board holding us accountable to what we can and cannot do. It's based on what our superintendents are doing. It's based on our city council members. When we have towns like Gaston where the council is supporting, providing resources, hey, the council, how are you spending these resources to make sure it gets down to the students? So these are things that we got to have seats at the table so that people can understand what's been made available. But that autonomy really is on that principal. And so to have principals who understand their community, know the population of children they're serving, why make it a mandate that they have a certain school checklist or uniform requirement or outfit requirement, and that you're serving a community where parents can't afford that? You got to make policies that work for the families that you're serving. So it's a lot that goes into it, and a lot of times we'll complain, and we don't understand who make those decisions, why they make those decisions, and hold us accountable as 3 elected officials trying to encourage the community. So, we don't want people to miss that mark. You all probably can attest to, how many people you've actually heard come up to you and say, other than, once you get past congratulating me, now be a thought partner with me so we can work together collectively to make our cities better. Let's not sit around and talk about what's not happening. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bishop.
That was a good point. Once you've congratulated me, then take part with me. So many times we elect, and that's all we do. We're not there to make sure that the things that we want to see done, or the things that we're campaigned on, to help make those things happen, to take part in it, and then hold that city official accountable for that as well. Let me just get this little bit in right quick. I serve, each council person has to chair a subcommittee, and I chair the Education and Recreation Committee. This goes in line with some of the things that your symposium coming together, and this parent, it's where we have to place the responsibility on parents. And sadly, there are parents who don't know, their parents that just with parenting, period, need help with parenting. But it goes in line with some of the things that we have already been talking about and trying to, from a council perspective, support the school system. And one of the areas that we started with first was that elementary school area. And I think that it's important that we start that early. Even when I was an educator, I often wondered why sometimes it seems like we were trying to do things when they got to middle school or even to high school, not realizing that those first kindergarten, first, second, third grade are very crucial years. They're very crucial to the learning process. And so it's good to see. I'm thankful for the symposium coming, especially at this time, with some things that are being conversated and that are being planned for our own school system. It couldn't be coming at a better time. And then when you look at our children being held accountable at that early age, it's where we can get it right. We got to get it right in the beginning. So I am not in any way opposed to those standard tests that are being required now to make sure that our children are prepared in early childhood education. One thing, though, that does concern me, and I want to get some thought from both of you here with this, the standardized testing. What are your feelings about that, being board members? And I don't really know, and I know in the future, I will know, and the weight that's going to be put on those standardized tests as it relates to those children moving on. Do you know, or what?
So right now, the standardized exam that is used is called ACAP. That is the testing that is used across the state. And ACAP testing starts at, so most districts use iReady and ACAP. So iReady is a standardized exam that is used throughout the school year, whereby it assesses the growth. So let's say that all three of us take iReady today. We can take iReady again in a month, in 30 days, and it will show how much we've grown. So and the idea of iReady is it measures the same standards as the ACAP. And ACAP is the overall exam or standardized exam that the state uses to see on the same spectrum how every district is performing across the state. Other states, like Tennessee, uses the same exact exam, but they call it TCAP. Can't remember exactly what the acronym stands for, but when you ask the question about what do we think about those standardized exams, I think that not just because of the pandemic or anything, but I think that we need to really start to look at standard exams to see what type of questions are being asked and how the questions are being posed, right? Because depending on, and I hate to tie economics in it, but when you look at the researchers and the analysts, they really do always tie in race and economics. From a personal standpoint, I don't feel like economics should be a factor. Just because my parents don't make a certain amount of money doesn't mean I can't read. But the reality is there are a lot of implicit biases that take place, even with our educators, who assume because a child is from a certain community that they can't learn. So then we, for lack of better terms, we dumb down the lesson. We lower the bar. We lower the bar based on you know, that's Nunu little baby. You know, Nunu daddy did this, or Nunu mama did that, or that baby being raised by the grandmama, so maybe the baby don't understand. So these are kind of biases that naturally happen, and no indictment on any educator. I think any professional position, whether you a social worker, you work in if you are owner of the local convenience store and you know this family, you may go ahead and let this child take this snack and they don't have the money. That's an implicit bias, right? Just assuming that a person can't reach this standard because of a certain thing. But I do think that the states, and you talked about this earlier, Pastor Z. So the state has what's called A through F schools, and then we have what's called a failing schools list. And so the A through F schools was birthed out of a failing schools list. The failing school. Are we here for this tonight, or do we need to just want to keep going? Because it can go, y'all. I know quite a bit about this kind of stuff, but I'll try to make this short. A through F, the failing schools list was developed, whereas if you are in the bottom 5% of performing schools across the whole state of Alabama, they take the bottom 5% of schools, and all the schools that's in the bottom 5%, the state says you are a failing school. Mm-hmm. So if you look at it, you could actually, all the schools could be an A, but the bottom 5% of the A will be determined a failing school. Yeah. So that law was developed because of the Alabama Accountability Act, which has something to do with allowing kids to get scholarships to go to a school of their choice. So that was the Alabama Accountability Act. That was developed by folks who are supporters of choice, whether it's public, private, charter, virtual home, blended school option. That legislation was developed out of that group, written and passed in 2013. So what happened was the traditional sector, like our AEA, our teachers unions, the other folks who were essentially on the opposite side of the panel, traditional districts said, I don't like this failing schools list. You're labeling our school as a failing school, and we're not really failing. But because they're in the bottom 5%, the state said they were failing. So the state came up with what's called A through F. And let me go back and say the failing schools list is totally based on academics. It doesn't add any other factor in it. Okay. So then to your point about how do you feel about standardized exams, the A through F schools now look at, not only do they look at academics, but as Pastor Z was saying earlier, they look at attendance, they look at proficiency, they look at growth, like how much has a student grown. They look at, which is a whole nother conversation, but it factors in about 5 different things to determine if a school is an A through F school. And one of the high factors in that is attendance. A lot of kids are not going to school. It also has a lot to do with teachers not coming to school. The teachers get graded. So there are a lot of things that are sort of added into that to determine if a school is an A through F school versus a failing school. So failing school is all academics, and A through F has different factors that it considers to determine if a school gets an A through F report card. And so again, helping folks understand what that means. And there are a lot of things that can close that gap to cause schools not to be A or to cause them not to be an F school or A school. And then you may have heard, for those schools that are in the A through F, if you are a D or F school, Governor Ivey has created what's called CSI schools, which is basically additional resources and funding are pumped directly into those schools to find out what is happening, to close that gap, not only academically, but whether it's attendance, whether it's parent participation, whatever those things are, so that they can come off that A through F school list or come off the DF list. Yeah.
But let me ask you this. Should we expect to hear information such as what you're sharing now and more on the 12th? We're expecting to hear information like this for those that are listening, and a lot of people saying great information, good stuff, great information, great show. You're very informative. So we're expecting at the symposium, because I know you're one of the presenters, to go in depth, more information that you haven't given yet on the show, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I can, real quick, there's one session that's called Design Lab. And I like this one because I think it leads to kind of your question, Bishop T. When we look at a school, if we talk to parents about what they're looking for in a school, most of the time, the last thing parents are going to talk about is academics. They're going to talk about culture. Is the school loving? Do they respect my child? Do they love on my child? Do my child feel safe? Are they going to get, good food and those kinds of things? So Design Lab is going to talk about what do you look for in a school? How do you measure a school? If you take the academics away, how do you measure the quality of a school? And so the ultimate goal is that what that should do is encourage parents to really look at their schools with a closer lens. Like, are these things there that really help support my child? Because when you create a safe environment, anything can happen. All kind of learning can happen in a safe environment. But if my teacher got an attitude, the janitor don't clean the bathroom, the principal never at school, everybody, good morning, the secretary at the front desk, how may I help you? They forgot to get their coffee. It's just not attitude. It just does not create that kind of culture. And then behind the walls, when we start looking at performance indicators, what are the performance indicators as a parent that you should be concerned about? So it's a lot of great topics. I can't give it all away here, or we can just make sure people show up. I just want to tell you all,
they got to show up. They got to show up.
And this is the one thing that, listen, this is great, because what parents need to understand, you cannot snatching your child out of one school, moving your child to another school. Your child is still going to have the same problem or whatever. I always said this when I saw these things when I was in the school system happening in East Gadsden. You need to stay put and make sure that what needs to be done is being done in those schools.
At that school. That's right. That's right.
School. Because your child, that's right, holding principals accountable, holding teachers accountable, the whole 9 yards. Stop jumping up and running somewhere else, number one. And then number two, get involved. That's why when you say Parent Symposium, our parents have got to get involved and stop waiting on somebody else to fight those battles for us. We'll go to the school and fight because you said I couldn't wear a shirt, or I couldn't wear this, or I couldn't dress this way. But then we won't show up when we clearly see, and I'll step out here on a limb to say it. When I was seeing children making A's and B's in the class, but couldn't pass the graduation exam, that was disheartening for me. It was disheartening to me because I was a tough teacher. I didn't water it down, because when you get to the next level, nobody's watering it down at the next level. If you're going to college, nobody's watering it down. You've got to, especially with the math, you've got to have a background in order to sit in that next class and do what you need to do. So, I mean, I'm excited. I am excited not only for the 12th, but the potential that the 12th has and the impact that it can have on the participants for showing up.
Listen, I'm smiling so hard.
Mad.
Yeah, I'm smiling so hard because what you just described in the last sentence is exactly what year of evidence means. The only way you can get evidence is by taking steps, having some action. And so the goal is by the end of this academic year, everybody that came sees some kind of evidence that something they learned has been executed or that they took an action step. So yep, that's it. That is it. That's the goal.
Now that year of evidence, you make me want to pick that up for the rest of my life, and it be my goal for myself, because that's
why not?
Everything that we do should produce evidence. Everything we are wasting our time if it doesn't produce evidence, and we have to take responsibility for that in our communities. That's what we have to do. I'm gonna make one last statement, and then I won't say nothing else. This is what, and because I see it. If you can't, parents, let me say this, and I may have to go out on a limb to say it. You may not know how to read. You may not know, and I taught math, and I'm telling you, some of this stuff they're teaching now, the way that they teach it, I sound like my mama when I was in school. You don't have to do all that, but they're teaching it a certain way.
That's right.
They're teaching it a certain way. If you don't know the schools, when we called the superintendent, we called Superintendent Reddit, we called Miss Maness, and we asked them to come for a meeting at the city, just the elementary schools right now, because of the test is coming up. When we called those principals to the school, it is amazing the things that they are doing before school and after school. But what is the problem? Parents, again, won't get their children to that extra help that's going on, to those the summer enrichments that are going on. It is important. If I don't know how to do it, get the child to somebody that does know how to do it. And most of these things, I think that the schools are offering. You said the funding.
Title I funding and the ESSER funding. ESSER.
Right.
The ESSER. Yep.
Listen, so that means that you don't even have to pay.
That's right.
So it's an excuse. It's nothing but
and what you just said is it. We always looking for someone else to blame.
Yeah.
Whether they'll blame a board member because their child can't read. Now, how is that a board member's fault? Because the child can't read. That goes further than a board member. We just governance, and policy. We can't make them read. We don't teach them to read. We represent to make sure they have the resources they have available in order to be able to do so. And Miss Smitherman, which is principal of Adams, is on here. And you talking about challenges. She has probably the largest challenge in the system because of the makeup of her school. But she built for it, and she's been there, and she have done the things that she need to do in order to help get their school out of the hole it once was in. But nobody has the EL population that she has. I'm talking about they can't even understand English.
Same thing.
But she has the patience to stay and hang in there to make sure every one of them get what they need.
And we have to take advantage of that. That's all that I'm saying. To sit and say, I can't read. And we're doing a dissatisfaction to our children if we sit and these resources. And I do know that having met with Ms. Finesse and Superintendent Reddit, that Gaston City school system has gone the extra mile to make sure that this stuff is available. Now just like Saturday, you're making something available that we've never heard of, never been presented, couldn't be at a better time. Will we take advantage? Will we take advantage of it? Will we? And I'll say it again. It's a proactive approach. And we have to stop reacting. We have a proactive approach, and we need to be gassing above everybody. I am encouraging you, get in those seats on Saturday, the 12th.
That's right.
Get this information and let it do just what it's set and designed to do. Ignite us to a point to where we have nobody to blame. We have nobody to blame for our children not being prepared, for our children not being successful. And let's see, just what you said, a year of evidence. But yes, you got it. And listen, the pandemic. The pandemic exposed so much.
It exposed. That's what it did. It exposed.
It exposed so much. But do we sit and continue? Now, the one thing that I have noticed in these short 9 months of being in this position, we got some people will gnaw on a rag for days. and you don't have to agree, and don't send me no email. Well, not on a rag for days, but what do we do to combat it or to change it? What do we do to become a solution and not continue to keep going over the problem? What is the solution?
Yeah.
And you know, it's amazing to me the stuff that's being provided, and then we'll sit at home. Too many times parents are asking children, do you want to go? Back in our day, you want the question. You're going. I don't care if you.
Well, let me tell you, I was fortunate to visit a few classrooms during the pandemic, and of course, you know, it was all virtual. And what blew my mind was that folk wouldn't even turn the computer on from the home and get in class. They was absent during the pandemic, and all they do turn the computer on. And then there would be some get on the computer and be in bed, got the screen off where you can't see them. Then when they do it, they got the hood on their head at home in the bed. I mean, it was wild, man. I'm like, man, now you they serving you at home and you don't even want to, you absent at home. That's crazy. So it's a lot going on. And listen, the 12th will be here faster than you think. It's a Parent Symposium at the venue at Coosa Landing, 201 George Wallace Drive, Gaston, Alabama. The keynote speaker is Mr. Roland Martin. It's a Parent Symposium starting at 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. We have our good friend, Gaston native, Miss Neonta Williams, and the Black Alabamian. They are actually putting this on for us, bringing it to our hometown. This is one thing that my mother and father always told us when we was growing up, when they would leave the house. They said, don't have nobody in my house while I'm gone. And mom and dad had a way of knowing if somebody had been in the house because the pillows wasn't like they left them. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, now you heard Neonta say that they're going to bus people in from Huntsville and all over the place. Now, what would be a crime shame is for everybody everywhere else coming to our city and coming to our venue, and we're not there ourselves. They should not bus in more people from out of town. It shouldn't be a representation more of out-of-towners than it should be our own here in Edgewater County. And this is not just to Gaston City schools, but it's to Edgewater County schools, it's to Tallahassee City schools. Every person in this, parents, bring your children, y'all come on and let's fill these seats and let's be inspired. Let's be informed and encouraged to have a very successful school year. When is the last day to register?
I know for the symposium. I'm sorry, I had on my school board head. I was about to say, well, we are for the symposium. You know what? All the way up until we are really we know the venue, and I'm stuttering on my words. The venue can seat thousands of people, and we're prepared for that. But what I'm not prepared for is if 1,000 people show up and I don't have enough food. So we are providing food as well. Yes. So we're gonna have
register.
Wait,
very important that you register.
Time out.
Yes.
You're having a symposium.
Yes.
That you are providing food as well.
Everything. So listen, I mean, it's free. This is how bad I want people to come eat this information. I mean, we went out. And,
you are messed up now. It's gonna be packed out. It's gonna be packed out.
Listen, y'all register because
I got some folk don't never come to church unless we feed.
But definitely they do need to register so that you have.
They need to register because where do you register? Pastor, can you put up www.enlightens black4edu.org. And I'm gonna type it in the chat.
I hadn't registered. I need to go register.
Please do.
Because definitely me and and I'm thinking, I know me and Councilman Minatra are gonna be there. So we need to make sure that she usually have her ducks.
Give it to me again. www.what?
.blackal. I just put it in there. 4 edu.org.
BBEDU.org.
You like information? .org. But like I said,
comment too, Pastor. Highlight her comment when you get.
Is this correct right there?
Yep, on the ticker. Yep, that's it. Black AL or edu.org. That's it. So when folks come in, we pre-register folks. You come check in. Check-in starts at 7:45 a.m. until 8:45. So about an hour before. I know this is a Black organization hosting a Black event, but we will start on time and we will end on time. Whether it's one person in the chair.
There's no CPT time.
That's right. None of that at all, because we want to be respectful. That's it, Pastor. Thank you. We want to be respectful of everybody being there. So you come in, you check in, you get you some coffee, some juice, donut, Danish, whatever you like to have. Go take your seat, network, mingle. If you got business cards, bring them. Whatever you have, bring it so you can interact with other folks across the state. And then we're going to start right at 9. There's going to be a hearty lunch. My team laughed at me because I said I want some soul food. So we're going to have plated lunch, good food, good food.
Awesome.
And then of course we're going to hear from Roland, and then we'll go into some more breakout sessions. I didn't get to talk about Ed Farm is going to be there. That is an organization that does STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. So folks are going to be able to put on those virtual goggles, go to Paris. I mean, and the idea is that as adults, we're being exposed to what our children, some are already being exposed to in school, and the idea is that if you don't, you advocate for it to happen in your district. So it's going to be great, y'all. It really is. And I cannot thank you enough, Gaston, hometown folks. Like the energy that I feel when I get on 759, when I come into Gaston, I can just feel the excitement and the love that the city has shown, from the council allowing me to speak this week, school board, and we met down in Mobile talking about this. So, I just want to thank everybody that's been involved. I'll tell you, the post for me personally is that I get to come back home and we can bring the Board of Education together, and we can bring the city council together and the community together for one night of just dreaming, to see what are our challenges and how do we address these so we can work together as a collective to do what we need to do for our hometown, because greatness has come out of Gaston and is in Gaston. So, and we know that. We're looking at each other. So I'm excited, y'all. Let's do it. But
we
thank
all
you
are
so much.
Excited. And we thank you so much for all that you do. Everyone, don't forget the 12th. August the 12th at the Coosa, the venue at over the Coosa Landing. We're looking forward to a great time. Thank you, Neonta. Everybody show some love to Neonta for coming on and sharing her gifts, her vision, and this Parent Symposium, the love that she is bringing back to our city. Show some love to her. Hit the hearts. Thank you again. This won't be the last time. We're going to have to bring you back to tell us about how you felt things went with the symposium, if you thought it was a success or not. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I can't just say one last thing, because I know when Gaston show up, she do like to show out. Listen, y'all come comfortable. Don't come all sharp and suited up. Just be comfortable. Okay? Just come and dress comfortable so you can be yourself and learn and glean and all of that good stuff. And Roland is excited too. If you know him, he definitely interacts with the crowd. He is not one of those standoff, I guess you can say, celebrities. He's taken selfies and photos and the whole nine. He's gonna have his book, so if you want to purchase one of his books, go through the book, sign it, the whole nine. But I just want to say, come comfortable. That's all I'm saying.
All right, have a good one, and thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. We're going to come back in just a few minutes. We don't have any tea tonight.
We don't have enough tea.
But we don't have any tea. We missed Tamara.
Yeah.
She's not with us on tonight, but she still she'll be looking forward to coming on the next show. We'll be right back, y'all, to say our goodbyes. Suit Up, Volume 1, written by Z. Andre Huff. Enjoy 100 devotional messages designed to impact, empower, and encourage you. Suit Up lists each devotional title in the table of contents. These short, convenient devotionals will jumpstart your day. Order Suit Up, Volume 1 by Z. Andre Huff today. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Westbow Press. You'll be glad you did.
This upcoming First Friday, August 4th, I'll be having my very first art show at the Gaston Museum from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. It is something that I've wanted to do since I was a wee little girl, so it would mean so much to me if you guys would just swing by, have a little wine, and act like you like my artwork. Hope to see you there. Bye.
Hey guys, it's Neonta Williams, founder of Black Alabamians for Education. I'm so super excited that we are here to share with you that our Parent Symposium 2023 is on the books. It is August the 12th on a Saturday from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. Registration is free. Roland Martin is going to be our keynote speaker. We also have a QR code here that you can scan if you would like to register. Again, registration is free. I know you're asking, what is a symposium? The idea is that it is the largest gathering of parents, elected officials, and community members to discuss education and how we can prepare our students for a successful academic school year in 2023-2024. Why not register? It's free in Gaston. We look to see you there.
All right, we're ready to close out our show. We had a lot to share tonight. We've been gone for a couple of weeks, or 3 or 4 weeks. So we wanted to come and bring some good information to you. We hope that all of you enjoyed the show, our guests, all the information that was shared. We have some future shows that we have already been discussing. We plan on having different guests coming on, so continue to tune in to Real Talk. We will definitely let you know ahead of time when we are planning to do something different. Hope all of you are able to join Adrienne Reed at her show on tomorrow night, her art show. Those that are actually enjoying First Friday is at the Gas Museum, and again the symposium, Parent Symposium, that is taking place on the 12th at the venue. Keynote speaker is Mr. Roland Martin. Bishop, you have any final say?
Yeah, I forgot this. Summer concert series, the last concert is Friday night. After you it doesn't start to 9, so after you've gone to the art show and you've taken part with First Friday, come by the summer concert series. Let me grab something and tell you who that's gonna be. Who will be there? I had it right at hand. And then now I have the privilege this coming on tomorrow night, class of 88. I will see you tomorrow night. 35 years out of school. Radio Incorporated is this group. And they do 80s music, 90s music, old school rap, country pop, a little bit of everything. So it's just really just a good time. I had the privilege of being at the mall, so I have enjoyed them. Not a fan of some music, but it was still good. But that's Friday night, and class of 88. I'll see you Friday night as we celebrate our 35th class reunion
of Litchfield
High School. You're right, Litchfield class of 88. Litchfield class of 88. Yeah, we'll celebrate on tomorrow night.
All right. Okay, well, thank all of you for joining us again here on Real Talk. Until next time, you all have a wonderful, wonderful night.